Is there really a best budget DSLR on the market right now? This might be your answer. It is quite a statement to say that this is the best entry-level DSLR out there, because there's a whole bunch of cool cameras that you can get for around £300–400. But let me just say, this thing is light, it's compact. Yeah, it doesn't have a touch screen, which you're probably used to with your smartphones and some of your higher end cameras, but it's got HDMI, it's got a decent USB socket, it's got Bluetooth for transferring images across, it takes a decent SD card, and it's just easy to use. In fact, ergonomically, it's nice. You're going to get a decent grip on there, which if you're not used to using a bigger camera, well, this isn't even that big, but you can carry that around comfortably all day. The weight's not going to stress you out. Even with the kit lens, you're going to get a decent photograph. I would recommend getting a lens with VR if you're a bit shaky or you want to shoot video without using a tripod. I used to own the D3400, so an older model, and I traveled to a bunch of places with it and had a great time. I did use, I think it was a Sigma 14 2.8, a Nikon 10.5 2.8, different lenses, but don't worry, if your budget just gets you to the kit lens, you're all right. It's got potential and you can learn. You can roll around in the easy modes, but what's the point in having a camera with such potential, with such a nice sensor and a decent processor? You got to get it into manual, or at very least aperture priority, shutter priority. That way you're going to learn what's going on, what you need to combine to get the correct exposure for what you want to shoot. It will show you what's going on. So in manual, you can see as I turn the dial, the shutter speed is changing, and then let's flick it across into aperture priority. Imagine that's your lens closing up and the light that gets in smaller and smaller, and as a consequence requires a longer shutter speed. As we open it up, shutter speed gets faster, the window, the aperture is bigger, so more light can get in. And let's see if we can put this at its widest, 3.5. And of course, in this mode, your ISO will adjust. This camera isn't set up for me because it's a loaner from a friend. So, you know, don't pay too much attention to what's going on, but we'll have a quick flick through and see what's going on in the playback menu. It's easy to move around with this. Just because you haven't got a touch screen, don't worry, you're not lost at all. You can use this D-pad here and move around. So we'll go through just quickly so you can see what's in it, and I'll throw in a few recommendations. It's always great to shoot in RAW, but if you're just starting out, maybe JPEG's okay. If you're a little bit afraid of using storage and using software, JPEG fine to start, but do try the RAWs. That's where your maximum potential lies. Let's just throw it back into JPEG fine. And if you're going to use JPEG fine, always go large, unless you're seriously desperate for space on the memory card. But you can get memory cards dirt cheap now. Your SD's not going to put you out too much. It's a good investment. ISO sensitivity. Now, from experience, these cameras are decent, but just to test it, we're going to push it right the way up. Sensitivity control, maximum sensitivity, minimum shutter speed. So you'll pick something that you're most comfortable shooting at. Now, the lens doesn't have VR. I'm going to put it at 1/60th just for now. Your mileage may vary, as they say. White balance, pretty good in auto. Pitch control, I don't like to mess about with that too much, especially as with a Nikon, I'll shoot RAW as much as possible. But anyway, D-lighting, not too bothered about that. Noise reduction, let's just leave it. Vignette control, whatever. Auto distortion control, let's pop that on, see how it works with the lens. Focus modes, you've got auto, single, continuous, manual. Now, you might want to just leave it in auto until you get used to using the camera a lot. I'm a fan of single point AF. That means you'll have a point on the screen and you can choose where you want, and that's where it'll focus and often start to meter from if you're using spot metering. Whole different topic. So let's just put that for now. But you'll see you might get into other things later. AF assist, leave it on for the moment. If you're starting to shoot in a more discreet situation, you don't want the, I think it will be the red light going out, then, you know. Metering, matrix is great. If you're shooting in somewhere like a theatre or something, you're only really interested in getting the image spot on in one area, spot metering is great. Matrix is a good all-rounder. Movie settings, now this should be a big difference over the 3100 that I had, which was actually, I think, the first DSLR with continuous autofocus or something like that anyway, but I didn't really use it much for video, if I'm honest. But this camera, I do want to see how we get on. Let's just throw it to 1080p 24 frames a second, but you can go right up to 60. So you want to be using the 1080p's basically. Movie quality, high quality. Stick in your copyright information there or image comment, that's very useful. So it's baked into the file. You know what? Don't even worry about the retouch. It's best to mess with your files on your computer, and you can even deal with raw files in your cell phone these days. And that's all you need to know from the menu. It's dead easy. Now, if we go back into shoot mode, you've got a live view mode, which is good, but I think Nikon really still haven't got that quite where I would like it compared to the mirrorless cameras due to technical limitations, but you might find that very useful so you can have a bigger screen instead of looking through the viewfinder. It will probably use up your battery a lot more too. Now you'll notice you can see what's going on in your settings on that back screen, and if you press the I for info, you can actually go through, adjust it. So if you think, oh, I just need to do a quick adjustment there, you can throw it in and adjust. And the cool thing with this camera, it does have picture guides to show you the effects of what you're choosing. So if you're a newbie, don't worry, it's got it all in there for you. And press this button to choose your release mode, single, so one shot, click, continuous, click, click, click. So you can hold it down, it'll keep taking a number, which might be cool if you're shooting kids or sports or whatever. Quiet shutter release, you've got your self timers and your delayed remotes and your quick response remote. Dead easy. And you've got your bin on the back there and your play button, you can zoom in. It's all there really. It's nice and simple and you're not going to get too lost, but you've got something to get into if you're brand new and you want to learn a bit more about DSLRs and have the potential to do more. This lens has a little locking feature there, so once it's there, it's not moving at all. So you need to press the button on the side, hold it in and turn, and now it's in. And if you note, it will just go between the two, 18 to 55, and the lens will stay basically fully extended. And if you want to get it back to locked and its most compact form, you got to push in and you're in. If your eyesight's not giving you a focused image through there, you can just rock back and forth on there until the image that you see is nice and sharp. But of course, point the camera at something and focus it so what it's looking at should be in focus. I'm going to get out, shoot the thing just in some really random situations, and then let you know why I think this is definitely a competitor for the best entry-level DSLR. So let's take a little look and see, you know, what we can do with this thing, and then I'll let you know a few thoughts afterwards. Everything will be unedited, straight out the camera. We're just gonna do something very random and easy. This video straight out the camera, no messing about, engine's running, obviously the onboard mic. What do you reckon? Yeah, it's not a pretty image, but the idea is for you to see just how easy it is, and I think that's hopefully gonna be good. Bear in mind this is entry level, but what do you reckon? You could do a little bit of a videos with your family, vlogging style or selfie style videos. I would recommend a lens with VR, but yeah, this AFP seems alright. Of course, I've got to play this bit back to see how this bit turned out, but you already know. And there's only so close you can go with this lens, so just bear that in mind. But you don't really want to go that close because it's just not pretty. Is it the best budget or entry level DSLR on the market right now? Well, I'm gonna say, yeah, it's definitely up there. This setup is going for around £379 more or less on Amazon UK. I'll leave a link below. Now this lens, it's a decent kit lens. It's still good for shooting video, for example, as well as photos. You'll get a smoother transition with the focus, although you probably noticed there was a little bit of what we call hunting going on with the focus. If you're a bit shaky, you might want to get the VR version, just pay a little bit more. That'll also give you the added advantage that you can shoot at slower shutter speeds, perhaps in a lower light environment, with that stabilization turned on, so you might get some more keepers. So for the little bit extra, could be worth going for that. Of course, secondhand, you can get these things way cheaper, and even the version I used to own, the D3400, goes for around £100 at the moment, which is brilliant. Then you could put that money towards better lenses. In fact, on this very channel, we've got a video about a D5300, so the next level up from this, but you might just be happy enough with this one and then putting that extra money into a faster lens. Oh yes, the app, it's not as bad as you might have heard. If you download Nikon Snap Bridge, connect the Bluetooth of the camera to the phone, you can let it transfer as you shoot, and it works quite well. But just make sure you've got space on your phone, because obviously you start shooting, going crazy, and you'll forget that your phone is filling up. But it's pretty handy if you want to use the camera to shoot stuff for your Instagram, for your Facebook, whatever. And the app's got a whole bunch more features, and that could be a whole video on its own. As you could tell, I was having a pig of a time with terrible grey days. Was not fun, and for the most part, I think people that are after this camera are going to be using it on holiday with nice weather. They're going to be using it at family outings, special occasions, stuff like that, and generally your light will be better. And to that end, I thought it would be cool to throw up some shots taken by the owner of this camera in his first few weeks with the camera, with no experience whatsoever. I think he probably had it set to auto and he just went for it. Now, frankly, I think they're more representative of this camera than what I put before. I think you'll appreciate that for an amateur, a beginner, he had a good time using this camera, and he's already got a bunch of solid keepers. I mean, the kid's cute, that's easy, and the little dog. Anyway, you'll see. It would be way cooler if I could take these cameras off to some super cool place with beautiful weather, real nice golden light, but I'm a busy photographer and I just haven't got time sometimes, or the cheap flights just aren't there when I want them. So, you know, thanks for watching. Leave a comment below, or let us know what you think of this camera, or if you think there's a better alternative. Some of the other brands have cool gear too, and it might feel better in your hands. I always recommend getting your hands on it and trying it out. Don't just take our word for it. Get out there and give it a play. As promised, here are the samples from the owner of the camera, Manuel Perez. Subscribe, leave a comment below, and take it easy.